All right, let's get right into it. We all kind of think of love as this, I don't know, this magical, mysterious thing, right? But what if I told you that the biggest thing shaping your relationship isn't magic at all? Nope, it's your mindset. It's this one simple belief that's secretly running the whole show. Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. One single belief, and it could be the biggest thing standing between you and the relationship you really want. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that belief and, more importantly, show you exactly how to flip the switch on it. Think of it like this. Every relationship has its own operating system, right? It's kind of working in the background, setting all the rules for how things function. Well, that system, that's what we call a mindset. And it controls everything: how you see your partner, how you argue, and yeah, whether your relationship thrives or totally falls apart. So, in this first world, the fixed mindset world, everything feels like a test. Every little argument, every flaw you notice, every single challenge, it's all seen as proof that something is just fundamentally wrong. The thinking is, if it's not perfect, it must be broken, because it assumes people can't change. There's no space for growth, just judgment. But then there's this totally different world. In the growth mindset, a relationship isn't some perfect thing you just find. Nope, it's something you actively build together. Problems aren't a final verdict on whether you're compatible. They're actually opportunities, chances to learn, to adapt, and to make your bond even stronger. It really is about the journey, not the destination. Just look at this for a second. It lays it out so clearly, right? Two completely different ways of thinking. On one side, it's all about expecting perfection and judging flaws. On the other, it's about putting in the work and being a team. And that line right there, the one that goes from "my partner should just know" to "we need to communicate," that is the absolute game changer we're digging into. So, what does this fixed mindset actually look like in a real relationship? Well, it usually leads you right into something called the meant to be trap. You know the one I'm talking about. That fairy tale idea that real love is just effortless, that it's perfect from day one. And yeah, it sounds super romantic, but trust me, it can be so destructive. And these are the big red flags of that trap. Believing that having to work on your relationship is a bad sign, that literally takes away the main tool you have for building something that lasts. But the mind-reading expectation, oh man, that's where it gets really dangerous. Because now you're not communicating, you're just playing this impossible guessing game that nobody, and I mean nobody, can ever win. And this story just illustrates it perfectly. It's a real account from the research. One person hears, "I need more space," and their mind immediately jumps to the worst-case scenario, a breakup. But the reality? It was just a literal request for more room on the couch. It's kind of funny, but it really shows how these fixed mindset assumptions can spin up huge anxiety over absolutely nothing. So here's the bottom line, right? Expecting your partner to read your mind isn't a sign of how close you are. It's actually a recipe for disconnection. You're basically setting them up to fail, and you're setting yourself up to be disappointed and resentful. It is a total lose-lose situation, and it all comes from that faulty belief that if you're really in love, you shouldn't have to talk about things. And this is what happens next. When the mind reading inevitably fails and a problem pops up, the fixed mindset sends you straight down this slippery slope of blame. You don't see a behavior you can talk about. You see a permanent, unchangeable flaw in who they are. That blame turns into anger, even contempt. And since you think the flaw is fixed, the problem feels impossible to solve. Suddenly, you're not partners anymore, you're on a battlefield. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? What if there's another path? So let's jump into that other world, the one where putting in effort isn't a red flag. It's actually the key that unlocks a much deeper, stronger connection. And that, my friends, is the world of the growth mindset. I mean, just look at this list. It totally flips the script, doesn't it? In a growth mindset, you're not looking for someone who thinks you're perfect and puts you on a pedestal. No way. You're looking for a real partner, an ally who actually helps you work on your faults and become a better person. It's all about building something with someone, not just finding a finished product. And this quote from John Gottman, who was like the guy in relationship research, is so important. What he's saying is that effort isn't just okay. It's absolutely necessary. It's the constant work that keeps you together. A growth mindset gets that and leans into it. A fixed mindset sees that work and runs screaming in the other direction. And really, that's the huge shift right there. You know, arguments, misunderstandings, tough patches, that stuff is gonna happen. It's inevitable.
But with a growth mindset, those things stop being scary threats that could end everything. Instead, they become opportunities. Opportunities to build something even stronger. Every problem you solve together is like laying another brick in the foundation of your relationship.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we get from one world to the other? How do you build that bridge from the shaky ground of assuming and blaming to the solid ground of communicating and understanding? Well, it all kicks off with one big decision. You have to stop trying to be a mind reader. Here's the blueprint. And look, it's simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Step one is just admitting that you're two different people with different points of view. From there, you stop assuming and you start asking. So instead of, you should have known, it becomes, hey, here's what I'm feeling, here's what I need. That's it. That's where the real work and the real magic happens. And yeah, that's kind of the trade-off, isn't it? You have to let go of that fairy tale fantasy of an effortless, perfect connection. But what you get in return is so much better. You get something real. A relationship that's built on a solid foundation of honesty, resilience, and a kind of understanding that you've actually earned together. All right, so the theory is all well and good, but let's get practical. Let's talk about some actual tools, things you can start doing today to bring this growth mindset into your own relationship. Think of this as your playbook for when things get tough. So in the moment, when you hear that little voice in your head saying, ugh, they're so selfish, or this is a total disaster, that's step one. Just notice it. Step two is remembering, hey, that's just one way to see this. Step three is talking back to that voice with a growth mindset option, like, maybe they're just having a rough day. I should probably just ask. And then step four is taking that action. It's choosing to connect instead of to fight. And hey, here's a really powerful exercise you can actually try with your partner. Sit down and share your actual self, where you are now, and your ideal self, where you want to be. The point here is absolutely not to judge each other. It's to become teammates. You're basically saying to each other, this is me and this is who I'm trying to become. Will you help me get there? It completely transforms growth from something you do alone into a team effort. I love this quote. I mean, it's just so freeing, isn't it? It reminds us that problems are normal. The goal is not to find some mythical perfect person who has no problems, because guess what? That person doesn't exist. The real goal is to find someone whose problems you can handle, and who can handle yours, so you can face them together. It's about finding an awesome teammate for the game of life. And that, right there, is the biggest question a growth mindset asks. It's not about who you are today. It's about the incredible potential of who you and your partner could become together. It takes all the pressure off of trying to prove you were meant to be and puts the focus on the much more exciting, much more creative project of deciding who you're going to be.